Welcome to the Voice Coach Podcast, here for all your speaking voice training and guidance. My name is Nick Redman, and I am offering you all sorts of nuggets of wisdom on how to keep your voice in good working order and a true representation of who you are. So if you're a podcaster, presenter, actor, speaker, or voiceover artist, or a general voice geek, you're in good hands. Shall we get started? Hey there, it's back to school time, so I'm just nipping in this week with a little sort of roundup of things you can do to just check in on your voice before the rest of the autumn continues and we get back to work. Here in the UK, certainly we're sort of just settling in after a cray-cray summer of juggling, holidays, whatever those were this year for you, kids sometimes, life generally, and anxiety and stress from all the stuff we've been going through this year. And now it feels like we can take a breath, reset, and just crack into the final quarter, I think they call it in business terms, of the year. So what I thought I would do is nip in and offer up a little how to get yourself back on track for the work you've got to do moving forward, for all the things you've got to talk about and the lives you've got to do and the podcasts you've got to record. And to be honest, this is also just for my benefit because I've sort of spent the summer, juggling everything like a mad idiot, and I've definitely let my voice care slip a wee bit. So here are a few things you can ask yourself and a few things you can do just to check in before we get back onto things for the final part of the year. It'll be Christmas before we know it. All right, so step 1, just check in with your hydration. Think to yourself, okay, I've had a couple of Pims there in the nice sunshine. Have I also had a water? Maybe you want to set a wee alarm on your phone every hour just with the word hydration to remind yourself to take a wee drink or to keep drinking. So just check that you're still hydrating. And remember, there's loads of stuff on hydration in that episode on, hydration, way back at the start. So check that out. It can still be tea, it can be juice, it can be anything to do with your diet as well. So number 1, are you staying hydrated? Number 2, next time you get in front of the mic, let's think a bit about that alignment. Sometimes when we're stressed and busy and there's a lot going on, we jump in the booth and we just record and we don't think about it. Or we have those conversations sat in our chair in front of the Zoom screen. Oh God, remember Zoom? And the little bad habits, if we're tired, start to creep in. So next time you're in front of that screen or the microphone, just check yourself before you wreck yourself. Oh, I've always wanted to be able to say that. So get those feet nicely on the floor, feel the floor under the feet. Maybe you imagine some roots just growing out of the bottom of the feet, or you just give the toes a little wiggle to bring your focus down there and get grounded. If you're standing, allow those knees to feel released. Allow the bum to feel heavy. Allow the spine and the neck to feel long, and allow the shoulder blades to just gently drip down the back. And if you're seated, check those right angles. And maybe you want to put one foot ever so slightly forward, so you're almost feeling that lovely sense of physical momentum forward a bit. You've got the feet flat on the floor. You've got that nice right angle from the foot to the lower leg, from the lower leg to the thigh, and that slight right angle but with a tiny lean forward with the torso. So we're just feeling that we're really ready to go. And my personal favourite, get your hands, get those bum cheeks and give them a cheeky little shufty out of the way so you can really feel your sit bones on the chair. So you also get a sense of grounding and stability from your bum, not just your feet. Next thing is take a look at your warm-up. Have you been doing the same thing for ages and not really thinking about it? Is it still working for you? Is your voice getting through everything you need to record with consistency and freedom and ease? Or are you finding yourself getting a little bit vocally fatigued again? Because it's really worth just looking at that warm-up and changing it up a little bit. So if you're hitting all those points, physical release, breath, resonance, articulation, which is a section we're sort of in now, then just look at the exercises that you're doing in there and go back to some of the earlier podcast episodes maybe and just change things around. If you do a lip trill, maybe you change that to a semi-occluded other sound like a whoo. Or maybe get some straw work in there. If you usually do shoulder stretches but you've forgotten about your neck stretches, maybe you put those in. When was the last time you did a spine roll, eh? Answer me that. Literally talking to myself now because I don't think I've done one for about 4 weeks. Put that on my to-do list. Epic spine roll sesh. So review your warm-up. Is it still working for you? Are you still doing it mindfully, not with kind of boredom and that just going through the motions vibe? And if you do feel bored, flip and change it. So 3 things there. Think about your hydration. Be really honest about your diet and whether you're getting enough fluids in there. Step 2, focus on the body. Check in on the alignment. Are there any bad habits creeping back in? If you've been working hard and following each episode of this podcast, you may have been able to iron out and change a few of those habits. Just check that you're still wonderfully aligned on the mic or in front of the screen, so that we're giving our voice the best chance to be free and responsive to that communication. And thirdly, check your wee warm-up. Is it still working? Is it boring the hell out of you? Do you need to change it up a wee bit? And just make sure that it's getting your voice to a point where it's ready to respond to the needs of the communication that you have. And if you are a bit bored of your warm-up, well, guess what? Or maybe you've even forgotten about what you can do, or you've completely let slip, or this is the first time you've listened to this podcast and you're like, Nick, I've got no idea what you're talking about. Well, I've got a wee back to open brackets voice, close brackets school week, back to voice school week happening in the Voice and Accent Hub this week, starting the 13th of September. It's not too late to join in. If you're listening to this on the day this ep is released, we've started. It's literally happening now. So get in the group, the Voice and Accent Hub, or pop to my Instagram, follow the link in the bio there. Now pop your name down and you'll get all the emails to join in with us from day 2 if you've missed that first day. But all the videos will be in the group as well. So join the Voice and Accent Hub over on Facebook. Come and have a play in Back to Voice School Week and get a cheeky wee kick up the bum to make sure your voice is ready for the final quarter. Plus, there's wee prizes, I know, because I think we all deserve a little present every now and again. So I've got 3 exciting prizes to offer to anyone who joins in, has a bit of crack and supports everybody else through this transition into the final quarter of the year. Oh, I fell into like voiceover voice there. Quarter of the year. Quarter of the year. Quarter of the year. Right, well, I'm off to do all those spine rolls. Creak, 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 pop. I hope this has given you a little bit of food for thought, and I look forward to seeing you in the Voice and Accent Hub. Back to Voice School Week. Let's bloody do this. Oh, I'll stick all the links in the show notes, by the way, as usual. Spine rolling out. Thanks for listening to the Voice Coach podcast. For even more support with your speaking voice, head on over to our free community, the Voice and Accent Hub on Facebook. See you in there.